different colored pens, where are you now? Do you still continue to write using all those colors? I'm 22, in university, and this year I'm trying to really improve my studying and note-taking outside of lectures. So, I decided to do 3 colored notes with red, blue and black pens because all the girls I know take notes like that and they all have much better GPAs than I do. My grade 9 science teacher forced us all to do it. He said that by color coding everything you understood the material better because you had to think about it longer to color code it and understand what other things it was associated with. Not just zone out and go into transcribing mode. He also made us do end of unit study guides. They had to be color coded, a set amount of drawings, and unit words and definitions. The drawings were doodles based on things in the unit. He would mark them and hand them back before the test, which was great because he knew if he needed to help us with something before we bombed the test. He was also a MMA fighter with cauliflower ears and not the type of guy you would expect to demand rainbow-colored notes. Edit, there's a lot of people asking for examples, so I'll make one up this afternoon. We all became bullet journalists. I'm a dramatic artist and I used all the pens just for that. My teachers hated me for giving them rainbows of notes and work, but I always wrote them a little key on the back of the paper, so they grudgingly accepted it. Except one math teacher who liked and looked forward to my stuff. I'm now a dog boarder and my schedules are so colorful only I can decipher them. I still art, but not as much, unfortunately. Frown. I will never forget sitting in class and asking the girl sitting next to me for a pen, and she turns back to me with a straight face and says to me, "What color?" Edit, this blew up. Thank you for the award, that marks my first, but hopefully not the last. Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec was definitely one of those girls, only she replaced the pens with binders. https://i.imager.com/week4.gif. I work in IT, and yes, I still have all those colors and still use them all in my day planner. As a guy who has been doing this for almost 7 years of uni now, I can say that it's absolutely worth it. Pleasant looking and well organized notes go a long way to make reviewing material 100 times more enjoyable. They migrated to /r/fountain pens and use 50 different inks with 100 different pens now. This reminds me of a girl in one of my college classes. It would be inaccurate to say she took notes. She took transcripts. She would write down everything in class. Everything the teacher said, every quote from the book that we read. Even every rabbit trail the class went down, she'd be taking meticulous notes, including asking students for their first and last name so she could attribute the quotes properly. Our midterm exam was a 10-page paper. She spent 30 hours on hers and got a 97%. I spent 2 hours on mine and got a 93%. I was much happier trading that 4% of my grade for 28 hours of my life. I'm an engineer with dyslexia and ADHD. I took notes with tons of colors and still do now. The colors help me stay organized, keep track of numbers and not mix up information. I keep like with like categorically and have a whole notation system. A friend recommended I try it in college and it helped me go from C's to B+ and A's. I'm good at picturing notes and the colors help to guide my brain to the relevant information in my memory picture, if that makes sense. In all one color it just looked like a jumbled mess. Either way, yes, I still use colored pens as a 30-year-old adult engineer. Woman shrugging. Removed. My cousin did this in HS. She is now a very organized and successful nurse. Yup. Homeschooling's arm here. I use one set of colors for my personal planner. Each person has their own color, bills have one, holidays and birthdays share one, family and community events have their own, and finally the animals have a color. School planning has another set for each subject. Ended up in med school, so not doing bad, I guess. I do still continue color coding everything in college as I did in high school and before. My case of synesthesia lets me see words, letters and certain concepts in different colors. By using the same colors to actually write the words or underline them, I solidify the memory links in my brain and it helps me remember things. I also take graphic notes with arrows and double lines or write in groups of small areas, etc. so that I can clearly categorize things I need to remember. If you're a visual learner, this helps a lot. I graduated with my PhD. I still have a love of extremely neat notes with color coding and fonts and neatly drawn graphs. My licensing exam study binder was a thing of beauty, and I actually wound up making a PowerPoint presentation for last year's residents on the exam and study tips, complete with several personalized memes. This shit brings me so much joy. Smile. I still have about 8 different colors of pens in my office, although now all my reports are typed and have to conform to a particular aesthetic, so I'm stuck. I do, however, now have a handmade stone pen courtesy of my father-in-law and a very cool fountain pen made from trimmed branches of a 100-year-old olive tree that my husband gifted me. So no more neat colors, but my love of excellent writing materials lives on. We all have bullet journals now. I was exactly this girl. I had about 50 glittery colored gel pens, and for each school assignment I would choose 5 random different ones to write and decorate my notebooks with. 20 years later, I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I still love making things nice and colorful with cool typography. I basically did not change at all, I just have slightly better taste now. Not a girl, but in my business law class during undergrad we were allowed to use our notes for the tests. It was much easier to color code everything so I could find it quickly if I needed to reference it, different colors for terms, cases, outcomes, etc. I've been unemployed for about 6 months. Wife did this as a kid, through high school and became amped in college. But now she's a teacher and writes in different colors for a living. We're currently moving out of the country and she can't part with pens she doesn't even use. She managed to smuggle them into her carry-on bag. Send help. I knew a guy who would take color-coded notes in class. Then immediately after class go through them and then do even more advanced color coding with added references and stuff. He was probably the hardest working and smartest guy I've ever known. And he grew up in a small village in Venezuela and now is a US citizen and officer in the Navy. Made me embarrassed that he is a better speaker in 2 languages than I am in 1. Nurse here. 4 colored pens are an absolute must for my job to keep organized. On my assignment sheet anything ordinary in black, code status in red, things I need to do in blue, lab results in green. Then I'm at peace. I am still in school. I used to get straight A's, but now I'm not even straight. Edit, I spent too much to asking girls to borrow their pens. It's my time to shine. I really sucked at taking notes. I failed out of 7th grade. I scraped by in high school. I got into the lowest tier university in the state only because they automatically accepted anyone with an ACT score over 21. Then I flunked out. Twice. I eventually did graduate with a degree that I never used, but it was with a 2.7 GPA. This is just to demonstrate how awful I was at note-taking, studying, anything involving recording and retaining information of the academic persuasion. Then I decided I was really tired of living below the line of poverty and got a master's in science. This required being at the very least passable at recording and retaining academic information. This is where the copious color-coded pens came in, and the color-coded highlighters, and the color-coded sticky notes, and the color-coded accordion folders. I was finally able to properly record information in a way I could retain, which led to my appointment as research assistant, then contributions to multiple academic publications, and ultimately a dream job at the R&D division of a certain computer company. Colored pens got me out of poverty and gave me the ability to help provide for my family. Doctor, I now work as a researcher at a computer company. I am now paid to study. I still have all my pens.